Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. We are going to get right into it. We are doing Quiet on the Set, part 2. And we are going to go over some new pervy McPerverton. I'm making up words as I go.
What?
So this part gets into another man that is not Dan Schneider. His name is Jason Handy. And in one instance that I saw, he was a writer, but most of the time...
Jason Handy. It already sounds kind of suspect.
Yeah, for
Sorry.
real. So he was a production Handy Dick, whatever. Production assistant.
Okay.
For a lot of different shows, pretty much.
Oh,
Just
okay.
a bunch of different shows on Nickelodeon. And his job was to take the children, because remember we talked about it earlier, how the children are fucking just shit shows, like they're just kids everywhere, right? So somebody needs to like usher these children where they need to go.
Okay.
And remember, the parents didn't want to be a big deal. They didn't want to like cause any ruckus or any mayhem or anything weird. They didn't want to get in the way. They just kind of let the kids and the directors, writers, production, whoever run the show, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So this Jason Handy would go get the children and usher them into the new location that they needed to go to record, to do this, to whatever the fuck they're doing.
So he's like a wrangler.
Yes.
Handler.
Handler.
Wrangler. Okay.
So, the parents really trusted Jason. They felt comfortable with him. Jason would talk to him. Jason also volunteered at the Malibu church with the 6-year-olds.
Okay.
So, everyone's just like very happy with him. No big deal. He is younger at this point. He's in his 20s, early 20s. He's not, they don't see him as a threat.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously. So there was this little girl, Brandy, who was 11 years old, that was just an extra on Cousin Skeeter.
Okay.
Which is a TV show. I hated that fucking show.
I don't remember it at all.
Dude,
Just
it's
not
so
ring a bell.
stupid. It's about this, like, Cousin Skeeter was like this puppet that lived with a normal family.
It does
It's
not ring
so
a bell.
fucking
I
weird.
just.
Yeah, it was on from
I mean, a puppet lives with the family. Alf.
yeah,
Like
look.
my brain goes to Alf,
Yeah,
which
no.
is not Nickelodeon.
No, it's
but-
fucking weird. Alf? Is that what you mean? Alf? There.
Alf, yeah.
See? Look.
What the fuck?
Isn't that weird? So
That's already creepy.
Yeah. So Jason Handy was...
Why?
I don't know. It was a weird show. I never liked it. Anyways, so this little girl, Brandy, was an extra. On the documentary, her mom, MJ, was the one that was on the documentary speaking on behalf of Brandy, because I don't think Brandy was even on the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, I bet she's dead. Like, I was like literally concerned, but she wasn't, as far as I know. So, Jason would form these relationships with these children,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would get their phone numbers.
Did children?
Emails. Yes.
And
he was emailing with Brandy in the early 2000s. Mind you, Brandy is 11 years old. Jason was then able to like access Brandy through email, chats, etc. And he eventually went to her house and played video games with her.
Okay.
And then kissed her.
And how old was he?
20s.
Ooh. No. She's 11, number one. Nobody needs to be kissing an 11-year-old. Not even another 11-year-old.
I was going to say, unless it's another 11-year-old,
But even then,
no, you're
even
not supposed
then,
to.
nobody needs
Nobody
to
needs
kiss
to be
anybody
kissing.
at 11. But if he was like 12, then it would be like, okay, well, they're just little kids, whatever. But he's in his 20s? Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, so that happened.
No.
And he had told mom, or not told mom, told Brandy, don't say anything to mom. Because I can help you get into bigger gigs. I can help you in the industry. I can help you. Don't da da da.
And she's 11. She doesn't even have the mental capacity to like really understand how bad that is.
She probably just thinks she's being like adult.
Yeah, I mean, she
oh
just.
my god, an older man or an older boy likes me. That must be special. That's usually how like.
Yeah, I must be special.
Yeah.
He wants to play video games. He wants to hang out. We're friends. You have to think he probably like groomed her, like where he was emailing her and talking to her and playing video games often to get to the point where he felt comfortable enough to feel like if I kissed her, she's not going to tell. Like he got
he
her.
He had been around her, alone with her enough that pretty much. So, the following year, Brandy's now 12. Jason emailed or sent through IM, whatever, through technology, a picture of him naked masturbating
to her,
saying, "I'm thinking of you. I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you."
Wait, to her?
Yes, to her.
Oh,
to the little 12-year-old.
God, well, that escalated a lot.
Well, it's been a year.
I mean, kissing is already bad enough.
Yeah.
But that, like, whoa.
So mom did see this. And then mom started to go through their everything.
Good.
All their chats and everything and emails. And she was like, oh my God. So she put an end to it. But she did not go to the police.
She didn't report it.
Do you know why?
She didn't want her daughter's career to be?
She didn't want people to believe that she allowed her daughter to be around someone like that.
Well, you wouldn't know someone was like that, so she can't...
Dude, go to the police!
Yeah, she can't fault herself. Like, I mean, I'm not, like... I don't know I don't know if she... Sometimes you get a vibe around people like that. I don't know. Maybe she didn't get any weird vibes. So you can't fault... You just immediately go to the police or do whatever you can do to protect your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jason Handy ended up getting arrested on April 12th, 2003. One of the girls, Giovanni, she was on a show and worked closely with Jason Handy, and she was just like, he's just like goofy white boy, like whatever, like he just had that like persona, like he just nothing weird about him. He's just like stupid, like non-threatening, exactly. Which is why I was saying that there could be a plot twist, because Dan Schneider you look at as being this like predator, but he's out in the open about it. This guy,
he was more covert.
He's covert. He's not out in the open, and that's the ones that you have to be careful of. So another person said that he's a nice, genuine, humane person, just like nice human. When they raided his house, there was over 1,700 pictures of child pornography, 7 videos, Ziploc bags, various, like bunches of Ziploc bags with girls' items, like little girls' items in it.
Weird.
Little girls' items with their names on it.
Names?
So in Brandy's bag was her underwear.
Trophies.
Tokens of whatever, conquests or whatever. Yeah. Like fucked up shit.
Whoa, that's weird.
And Jason's journals was like, he was just showed that he was just a full-blown pedophile. In one of his journals...
He's like obsessed with children.
In one of his journals, he said, I really have been giving into my desire for little girls these past few weeks. I even struggle on a day-to-day basis on how I can find a victim to rape if I have to.
Rape? He actually raped them?
He's saying that he wants to. He's going to find a victim. If he has to rape one, he will.
I mean, kissing is bad enough, being inappropriate in any manner, and taking their items as like some kind of trophy or something is creepy. Raping?
Yeah.
That's like a whole another level of like, I don't know, psychosis? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brandy testified as well as another 9-year-old.
Hi.
Same thing happened. Video games, bedroom, kiss, promises of actually kissed her twice, and she backed away because she was like feeling uncomfortable. And he promised to get her on other shows as long as she didn't tell her parents.
Wow.
He got sentenced in April 2003. He was sentenced to 6 years for 2 felony acts and 1 misdemeanor. He ended up getting an early release in 2009. And he was moved to North Carolina, and he's registered as a sex offender.
I mean, I feel like sex offenders that get like a huge slap on the wrist most of the time, and you think that guy is not going to offend again?
Yeah.
Come on, let's be realistic.
I mean, especially with saying, I will find a victim.
Yeah,
And rape
he's
her.
flat out saying he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's not like sugarcoating it
No,
at all.
no.
He's not saying, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid.
No
I fucked up."
nothing.
And as creepy and gross as it is, like, I can't believe, like, I let my whatever. I don't even know what you would even say at that point. Like, I
Urges
don't
take
know.
over or something?
I don't know. But for him to say, "I'm going to do this again," you believe that.
Yeah. I mean, he's saying it.
You believe that.
Why
Believe
wouldn't
it.
you believe that?
Yeah,
So,
no.
anyways, so on another, so right after this happened, within like Nickelodeon set, Dan Schneider created the show What I Like About You.
Oh yeah,
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
Yep. Amanda Bynes was only 16 when she started that show.
Oh,
I think she was
16?
portraying like 18, 19-year-old though.
I'm trying to remember. I mean,
Because it
I
had
remember watching
Jenny
it.
Garth in it, right?
Yes. Yeah, they
And-
were sisters.
Yeah,
In
and
the
they
show.
lived together.
Yeah, and they lived.
So I don't know if she was supposed to be 16 and Jenny was her like guardian, or if she was actually 18 and that's why they lived together.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't remember,
But
but
I feel like she was supposed to be much older because everybody around her was so much older. Like there was 2 guys that was always around and they were older.
yeah.
So Will Chow from Friends actually came on and was being the writer for What I Like About You. Dan got pushed out of the writing room.
Oh.
Dan denies that this ever happened and claims that he had other stuff going on, but like really, would he ever like leave his golden child? You know, his Amanda Bynes? No. Because he also remained on set with Amanda, like all the time, like almost like her guardian. And remember, her dad, her parents, or her dad at least, was really close with Dan. So I would imagine that it'd be okay, like he could literally be her guardian on set if she's only 16.
But wasn't there a point, and you might get into this, but I believe I remember there was a point where she wanted to get emancipated, or she did?
I'm getting into that.
Okay, yeah. Because I haven't watched this yet, but I'm just trying to remember
So,
what I remember my knowledge from back then of just hearing in the
Yeah.
tabloids and different things.
yeah, so this
Yeah.
was Dan's like way to get out of the Nickelodeon sitcom world and actually move forward in adulty or more writing. But his writing was too like stupid. It was for like kids. He couldn't transition, which is why he kind of got pushed out of the writing room, even though he created the freaking show.
Yeah.
So as Amanda got older, the parents they weren't getting along with Amanda. Amanda ran away, went straight to Dan's for like shelter, and police got involved. It was a whole thing. Dan convinces her to get emancipated, or helps her along that way.
Okay, yeah.
Dan was literally feeding into her like crazy girl teen craziness. And while Dan and parents had such a great relationship, now they did not. And but she ended up so the parents cut ties, and that was their relationship severed. She never did get emancipation.
Should we tell people what emancipation is for people who are
Who wouldn't know what
I
emancipation?
don't know, do they have that in other countries? Because other countries
I
listen
don't
to
know.
us.
Yeah, emancipation
So-
is where you pretty much divorce your parents and say, I can live on my own. My parents are not taking care of me. I can take care of my own self. And it's quite common in Hollywood because of the child labor laws, stuff like that. If they're emancipated, they don't need a guardian.
Yeah.
It opens them up to be able to work more hours. and not have to deal with child labor laws, pretty much.
And then in America, it's 18. You were legally an adult.
But yeah,
So they do this before the age of 18.
Yes. So she was 16 trying to do this. So when Dan got booted off What I Like About You, he went back to Nickelodeon and did a reboot of all that show that he had already created. Now he just did like, okay, redo. We'll just do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, at that point, it wasn't like he was coming into this power and it was all new to him, like it was the first run of all that. He was already in power.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an episode where the kids are calling Dan on the phone, like in the episode, like a skit, right?
Oh,
Where they call Dan and they're on the phone and they're like, Dan's a god, let's make Dan proud. And we have to, and they're all like talking on this
hyping up Dan
Yes.
Schneider.
And so that chick that I was talking about earlier, Giovanni Samuels, she was part of the new All That season from ages 7 to 9. Or not ages, sorry, season 7 to 9.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Sullivan also guest starred on the Amanda Show, and he was in All That for 4 years. And we'll talk about him later, too. As well as Brian Christopher Hearn was in season 7 to 8 for All That. And he said that it was a fucking mess. There was child overtime. He always was doing overtime. Child labor laws were being like, just thrown out the window. Nobody even cared. And he never felt close to Dan. He thought that Dan was almost stereotyping him because he was a black kid. And his very first comedy sketch, he was a drug dealer.
Well, that goes back to the heavy set people on set where you have to stay, you're the only one that could be quote unquote fat or have a different body type that he would, deem ideal or whatever he wants to say, then he's going to typecast you. So that goes with the theme of him.
And then Dan also put Brian Hearn in a like the spandex onesie, like his skin colored onesie, and he was playing a little fetus.
What?
I don't fucking know. Weird shit, right?
What?
I never liked all that because of it was always weird. Shit, I don't know. Just kind of.
That's creepy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Just, I kind of want to see it just to see what the hell that even, what's the joke in that?
Yeah. I don't know if it was a racially driven thing. I don't know how or why, or maybe I'm too stupid to realize
no,
what it's supposed to be.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to see it, but it's just really strange.
Yeah. So, he ended up, so he goes on to talk about Fear Factor, is it this all right, so
the TV show Fear Factor?
It was, okay, so yes and no. So I guess, and I never saw this because this must have been past my time, and I don't know when Fear Factor came out, but I think this was before Fear Factor. Oh. But they would take 3 of the All That kids and they would throw a dice or something, and then that person would have to do something that was gross, almost Fear Factor type thing. One time there was worms,
like a dare.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. But it was they were on air dares. They couldn't say no to them, and one it was
it was unscripted. Then it sounds like
one they
semi-unscripted.
Yeah, they put peanut butter all over somebody while dogs were licking them everywhere. So it was some weird,
that's
awkward fantasy
bestiality.
Yeah, weird shit. There's what else? I'm trying to think now because that's the only one I wrote down. But there's worms were all over you. One time they had to eat scorpions or something.
Yeah, that's very Fear Factor.
Yeah, but it was before Fear Factor happened, or maybe around the same time. But it was the kids' Fear Factor, and these kids were actually scared.
Yeah,
and the parents were oh, it's cool, everything's fine, because the kids had to act normal because they didn't want to get fired. Because a lot of these kids are breadwinners for their parents.
Sure.
Or they just wanted to move up in stardom. Mm-hmm. They don't want to get fired, so
they want to be on the good side of the producers and the executives, and yeah.
So now Dan is, 15, 20 years into this whole, 20 years into, Hollywood. 15 years into, being director, writer, being king of fucking Nickelodeon.
Hold on a second.
What?
I know we have a lot to get through, but just think about that. 15, 20 years into it?
Yeah.
How many children did he already traumatize?
I know.
not only the ones that are working for him, but also the adults working for him and the ones watching the show that get the weird jokes.
Yeah, I'm an adult and I don't get the weird jokes.
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
He did a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think so, too. Dan, so at this point, Dan, like I said, he's been creating shows and writing shows for now 15 years. He has been the Nickelodeon legend, best person ever for the past 15 years. He always wanted more hours and the kids to do better, do more. He wasn't fun to work with anymore. He wasn't this fun, happy-go-lucky situation. He wanted the Nielsen ratings to be zoomed up. And Nielsen ratings is how many people are watching your show at any given time or something like that. How many viewers are going in. They don't really do that anymore, I don't think, because now it's all streaming, but I don't know. So Dan was an egomaniac. He just wanted to keep feeding his ego. And he would start playing games with other writers to get, like, who he didn't like to quit. So he would fuck with people to get them to quit. Mind games and shit,
so
right?
You get bored and just fuck with you.
Yeah. So after John Handy got arrested, it was kind of like, okay, the show must go on. Let's just don't even like really address shit. Just let's keep moving forward, you know?
Sweep it under the rug.
And this didn't happen here. We're all good. We're all like, all that's a great show. Everybody's Cousin Skeeter's great. All of my shows are doing great. Nothing bad is happening over here. Don't look over here. And so then he hired Brian Peck as Pickle Boy for all that. So they would on all that they would have guest stars come on. One was Ray Romano from like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Brian Peck shoved a pickle through a glory hole where Ray Romano was on the other side, like eating it.
On TV?
On all that on kids' TV.
What?
And I just found out what a glory hole is like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I didn't even know what that was until 2 months ago.
I
like
know.
literally, Bryant explained to me what a glory hole was because he's like, oh yeah, they have a glory hole. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I knew what it was because of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's a glory hole, which is a television show. There's a glory hole in the bar. And they make it kind of as a joke. Yeah. And it's always like, but it's an adult show. And it's an adult joke.
For those who don't know, a glory hole is something that you put your penis through in a hole in a wall. You put your penis through and it gets sucked on the other side by whoever's on the other side.
So there's this whole like fetish, like,
I don't know why you would do that. Why would you need a wall?
Because there's a whole fetish thing of like anonymous like sex. So what it is you put it through the hole. It could be usually it's like, I'm talking like I know really well. Like I'm telling you, I know from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a television, like a TV
adult show. Yeah.
Yeah. That's been like, I think it's since ended, but like it has many, many seasons. Like, so it's very taboo. Every episode is like something like super taboo. And they had one and they created a glory hole in this episode, and then every once in a while it would come up the glory hole. Somehow they would incorporate it as like a joke. And basically it's like a way to have anonymous sex, consensual, adult is the idea. Adult, like 100% adult, consensual, like you do it, like either you're the one putting it through or you're the one on the other end and you do whatever to it, you know, but it's adult. The key word is adult and the other keyword is consensual. Yeah. It's like a fetish just to be anonymous because they want the pleasure, but it's like they don't know who's on either side.
So they would use Brian Peck as Pickle Boy to do all these sexual innuendos.
That is Pickle Boy.
Yeah. Because he would be like selling pickles or throwing pickles.
Yeah, I get it. Pickle Boy. Yeah. Okay. That's creepy.
And the only thing that people would say
that's creepy because that's children.
Yeah.
Show.
The only thing that people would say is like, oh, Dan has a weird sense of humor.
Oh.
Brian the only reason why Brian Peck was there was because Brian worked with Dan, because Dan was his dialogue coach and stuff. So they would work together. They already know each other.
Okay.
Brian Peck went on to be on Good Burger with Keenan and Kel.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The parents just fucking loved him. Parents loved Brian Peck. He was like this oversized big kid, right? They would have barbecues at Brian's house for like the kids on the show. They had foosball, Nintendo. He would do all the games and everything with the kids. Everything great. He had in his house. He had Planet of the Apes shrine.
Oh,
he had paintings with clowns with balloons.
Ooh, it's kind of creepy. I don't like clowns.
He had just all sorts of shit. So, anyways, I don't even want to say this part until later. So, sorry. I'm like, I don't want to say it yet.
What the hell? Okay.
So.
Oh my God! You have to say it now.
Okay.
No, don't.
No, it's fine. Okay. Here, Brian Peck had a nightstand by his bed with pictures of like John Wayne Gacy because he would write to him in prison. He was like
dressed
BFFs.
up as a clown.
He's known as the Killer Clown. They found over 30 boys' dead bodies in his basement of John Wayne Gacy.
Peck?
No, John Wayne Gacy. He's known as the Killer Clown. He would torture, mutilate, horrible things, and Brian Peck took it upon himself to be like his BFF. John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death.
Wait, he wrote him in jail?
Yes, and John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death, and he was executed in 1994. So this is like
After
8 years later, and he's still like
writing him?
No, he's still obsessing over him.
Oh.
He had already been done writing him.
Oh, I thought he was writing him after his death. I'm like, that's even weirder. I mean, it's already weird, but now it's like, why are you idolizing this child murderer, rapist, clown?
What's interesting, though, is that at one point, Dan Schneider had asked parents to leave the room to speak with the children, with all the kids by themselves.
Okay.
And explain to the kids that Brian would not be there anymore. So Dan must have known that something is going on, right? But he was like, nope, Brian's not going to be here anymore. And they had lawyers in there, and they just wanted to be like, do you want to say anything? Your parents aren't here. Let's just talk. And, if you want to say anything, this is the time to talk about it. He was asking them about Brian Peck. And I just can't believe it.
But legally, can they even do that without parents present? Because if there's anything...
There's so many contractual things that I'm sure that they signed some sort of contract at some point that said that
like
they
an
could
NDA or something?
Talk to lawyers or something if lawyers are present. I'm sure something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, one of the people that would always go to Brian Peck's house was Drake Bell. And this was like a huge... issue that's going to come up.
Nickelodeon I've heard about Drake Bell. Yeah. I mean, I know who he is regardless, but yeah.
Nickelodeon made a statement that said that they investigate all formal complaints as part of our commitment to fostering a safe and professional workplace. We have adopted numerous safeguards over the years to help ensure we are living up to the high standards and the expectations of our viewers. So that was their statement about why Brian Peck was leaving.
Yeah.
What they forgot to say was that August 2003, Brian Peck was arrested for lewd acts with a child actor.
Yeah.
But did not say who because he was underage. This is the first time that Drake has come out to say that it was him.
Yeah, sadly, yeah. That's fucked up.
But Drake's story gets worse. So when he was 5 years old, his parents divorced.
Okay. To
spend time with, they went through a horrible custody battle, and to just like spend time together. Drake's dad would take him to auditions, take him out of school early. They'd have like fun dad Drake trips to Hollywood and to all these auditions.
Yeah.
Dad's name is Joe Bell, and he really like helped him get involved in acting. Drake wanted to. Joe had never been any part of any of this like acting world, but his son wanted to, and he wanted to spend time with his kid. So there you go, win-win. He would go to auditions for commercials. Drake just loved it. He would be extras on Home Improvement, Seinfeld, Jerry Maguire. And Drake was such a good kid that in Jerry Maguire, when he was in that movie, there's one scene where he's supposed to flip off the camera as he's walking away, and he wouldn't do it. So he used like that finger. So if you look closely in that scene, he's using that, like his ring finger, his pointer finger. I think his ring finger.
It's not even the middle finger.
No. And Drake's ultimate goal was that he wanted to be a series regular on something, anything. He just wanted to like find his place as an actor.
His little acting home or like TV family.
So in 1999, he was 12 years old and he landed the Amanda Show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that he was a season regular on that show. I had no idea he was even on that show until last night. So the first season, everything, all good, all happy, everything great. Then in 2000, Nickelodeon had moved from Paramount to Sunset. And this is when Brian Peck came on board on the second season.
Mm.
And his whole house was filled with like Hollywood history. He had like weird obsessions. Like he had weird, like not only just with John Wayne Gacy, but like Hollywood history, just weird stuff, right? Planet of the Apes. Like, why are you have a shrine to Planet of the Apes? Fucking weird shit, right? He had given Leonardo DiCaprio voice lessons and acting lessons. He had already given so many actors lessons. So he would he was helping out Drake. He was getting Drake jobs. Drake would go to his house. His dad, Drake's dad, Joe, always felt like something was off and wanted to keep his distance. He was like, he wouldn't take his eyes off Drake when Brian Peck was around. He's all, something is wrong.
He had a vibe. There was a vibe. Yeah.
Yes. So he was like, nope, I'm here with you. Never, ever, nope. So Brian Peck was around him so much. And he would Brian Peck would put his arm around Drake or help him get dressed or like put his arm around his waist, like weird.
Help him get dressed? How old was he?
He's fucking 12.
That's weird.
Dad was not okay. And Dad went to production and was like, this shit's not right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even help my own kids. I mean, they're over 12, but I didn't, when they were 12, I did not help them get dressed.
I don't help my 5 or 7-year-old get dressed.
I mean,
at
best you help them pick out clothes if needed.
No, I don't even do that.
But I mean, I can see that. Like, oh, here, this matches here.
No, Cody's a better dresser than I am. Have you seen his outfits? But he's sharp.
Get them dressed.
At best, I will tighten their little buttons on the side of their pants because they're brand new jeans and they need to be tightened to fit them. That's at best I do. You know, like this is ridiculous.
That's weird.
So, production's response: well, Brian Peck is gay. He's very touchy and handsy, and you're homophobic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's okay to be handsy if you're gay. Okay.
Totally gaslight
Because if you're straight and you're handsy, then you're a pedophile. But if you're gay and you're handsy, then it's okay. You're just gay.
Yeah, it's
like,
fine.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
No.
So, as time went on and Brian and Drake were getting, like, closer because they're always together, Brian started to tell Drake that that his dad should not be his manager. That it's just a bad idea. So,
yeah, because that's a safe person. He's trying to sever the ties so he has more control.
Yeah, exactly. He's putting a wedge between them.
Yeah.
And Brian would go to Drake's concerts because, remember, Drake was like music or whatever, I guess. I don't know. And so Brian would follow him to whatever concert he was in. So if it was a local concert, Dan Schneider would go and, you know, support him and everything, but wouldn't drive to fucking San Diego from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But Brian would. In fact, he even went to the Strawberry Festival, and I swear to God, that's a Strawberry Festival that's in Vista.
I've heard of a strawberry festival.
Yes, it's in Vista every year in June. And I swear to God, this is where Drake must have performed, and Brian Peck showed up there with his friends to see Drake's show all the way from fucking Hollywood.
Yeah, and why would you follow a kid that far?
Yeah.
Like,
It's fucking weird, right?
Yeah, it is weird.
So,
unless he was getting some kind of cut from the performance somehow and he wanted
There'd
to
be,
make
like-
sure it went well.
yeah, like he's the manager, he's the production, he's something like that.
Then
Like,
I
he's
could
not.
see. But if he's just going to go,
Yeah.
it's like, why are you latching onto this kid? Like,
Yeah.
you're creepy.
So, 2001, Drake's birthday. He wants to do a birthday party.
Okay.
Brian's like, do it at my house. And
course he
Dad
is.
was like, fuck no. And Brian and Drake were like, well, all of my friends are in Hollywood.
Mm.
Brian's house is in Hollywood. It'll just
Okay.
be easier for everybody if it is at Brian's house where we already have barbecues and stuff, right?
I can see the logic if the guy's not creepy.
Yeah. Well, all of Brian's friends gave Drake super inappropriate cards. Like, super inappropriate. Like, they didn't go into detail what they were, but I could imagine, like, you know, the dirty cards that I'd, like, give to you, but I'm not going to give to fucking Isla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to get the fireman on the outside. Like,
Yeah.
hey, baby.
Can,
blah,
can
blah,
I grab my hose?
Yeah,
You know, or
yeah,
can I grab your
whatever.
hose? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dad made it like so. Joe Bell made it super hard for Drake to be around Brian.
Of course, I say fireman.
I know. It's the easiest. He has a hose. Spray me with your hose, fireman.
But we're adults.
We're
That's
adults.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So the dad just made it super hard for Brian and Drake to be around each other. He was just trying everything
Good.
he can to keep them away.
His like intuition, his gut instinct was
Well,
spot on.
When that started to happen, Brian Peck was like, hey, yo, your dad is stealing your money. You should probably look into this.
Ooh.
So Drake was like, oh my God, this is bad. And then he also said, and by the way, with your dad being around, you won't go far in the industry. So you better get rid of him.
Was his dad stealing his money or was it a
No.
lie?
Why? Drake didn't know what to do. So Drake cut out Dad and just stayed with Mom. Problem, Mom goes to work and can't like get Drake to like auditions, shows, da-da. So what does Mom do? Oh, why don't you just go stay at Brian Peck's house? Okay.
Holy
Lots
hell.
of problems there. But let's just add this, that Dad did not want to let go of Drake, did not want to let him go, and told Mom, but everyone was so against his dad, that he's like, okay, Drake, if this is what you want, that's fine. So he gave Mom all of the management, like all the paperwork, document, whatever he needed, right?
Yeah.
Passwords, whatever. And said, whatever you do, do not take your eye off of Brian Peck and our child. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
There's something wrong there. Don't fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
And what does she turn around and do? Here, have my child on a silver platter. Like, what are you doing? So, Drake had said that it felt like, the dad, Joe, was like, it feels like we're like fighting over custody again over Drake. Like he's 5 years old. But now he's like 15, 16 years old. There's not really fighting. He's like doing his own thing. What am I going to do?
The thing is, at that age, they're going to choose whatever they want, whatever path they want, and it's going to be really hard to convince them otherwise.
So at this point, Brian Peck is in every little aspect of Drake's life. Taking him to auditions, taking him to shows, picking him up from his house, dropping him off at his house, having him stay over at his house, just everything.
Yeah.
And then something changed one night when Drake was sleeping on Brian's couch, as he always did,
Yeah.
but he woke up to Brian sexually assaulting him.
On his couch
Yes.
while he was asleep.
Yes. Drake was 15 years old and was in fucking shock. He
Yeah.
didn't know what to do.
Probably
He
petrified.
He didn't know how to get out of the situation. He was like confused. He didn't tell anyone. Of course, Brian apologized and was like, I'm so sorry. It'll never happen again. And he always ended up back at Brian's. And every time it got worse and worse and worse. And Drake felt like he was so trapped with no way out. And the abuse was so brutal. It was like so extensive that Drake said that he could not elaborate on camera.
Aw.
And he said that just think of the worst thing you can do to someone for sexual assault, and that is it. Not a one-time thing or an oops, but like consistently.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how I survived.
And the thing is he felt trapped that he couldn't go back to his his parents.
Yeah, like
He
if
couldn't-
he wanted to stay in the industry, he had to stay there to get to auditions because mom couldn't do it, and dad was on bad terms.
So he felt like he had no one
Yep.
except for the situation he was in, which he hated, but he felt like there was no way out.
Yes. And so
That
Drake-
is heartbreaking.
It is. And so Drake said that like everything was a blur from like 15 and on. Like it
Yeah.
was just all a blur. He's hiding a secret.
Yeah, he probably blocked it. He tried to block it out, probably. I bet you anything he tried to just forget about it.
So Drake got a girlfriend and was just trying to hang out with her.
Yeah,
As much as
it's a good
possible.
excuse. I'm busy with my girlfriend. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
and
stay
so
here.
So Brian would be like
Trying
hey.
to leave that situation.
Yeah.
You know?
So Brian would be like, oh, I thought we were going to do this.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Sorry, I must have double booked my bad. Oops, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, one night,
Looking for an out.
girlfriend's mom figured shit out because Brian Peck was supposed to take Drake to Disneyland.
Oh.
And Drake wasn't answering. Drake was like, finally talked to him and was like, dude, I'm not gonna go. Sorry, I'm gonna stay here with my girlfriend. Have fun. Like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after that phone call, he kept calling the girlfriend's house over and over and over
Obsessively.
and over and over again.
Yeah.
To the point where the girlfriend's mom took Drake aside and talked to him to be like, hey, what is going on? Why is this 40-something-year-old man calling my house looking for
He was in his 40s?
Yeah, why is this 40-something?
And he was 15?
Yeah. This man should not be obsessively calling my daughter's boyfriend at my house.
It gets worse.
What is going on? And so, girlfriend's mom was like, okay, you know what? And fuck this. Called Drake's mom and said, FYI, I'm taking him to our family psychiatrist because, you know, that's a normal thing to have. It's a family psychiatrist. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Family counseling,
psychologist,
yeah.
counselor, whatever. So he takes them the next day. And Drake is just like, no, it's fine, whatever. And, like, denied everything because Drake thought that Brian was going to take everything from him.
Like his money and his opportunities?
Opportunities. Yeah. Like, he
Wow.
was really stuck. In 2003, so 2002, they decided that they were going to do the spinoff Drake and Josh.
Yeah, I remember.
And Brian was really pushing to be Drake's dad on that show.
That's even weirder.
And this is when Drake fucking lost his shit, broke down, told mom everything.
Yeah, because that's fucking
Mom
creepy.
instantly called
Now
the
you want to pretend to be my dad? Ew.
Yeah, mom instantly called the cops. Good for mom.
Yeah.
Detectives came, and he had to go into detail of every little incident in detail.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like,
I mean,
what,
you
16,
would.
17 now. It's so horrible.
It's horrible, but you would have to because they need to know what really happened.
Yeah.
It's fucked up as it is. They have to know so they know what they're dealing with.
So, they had Drake call Brian on, like, a tape-recorded line.
Oh, like a sting operation.
Yeah. And Drake asked Brian, why did this happen to me? Like, why would you do this to me? Like, what the fuck?
Mm.
And Brian went to the full-on confession.
What?
And the whole time he's like, am I being taped? Like, what the fuck? And, like, but full-on confession. Due to all this stress, Drake was literally losing patches of his hair.
Oh, is that like? There's a name for that, like alopecia.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think that's due to stress. I think that's what
There is something where
Jada
people
Pinkett
will.
Smith has that, right?
Yeah, they'll, like-
Alopecia or something.
Yeah, they'll like lose all of their hair. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
yeah.
so in August 2003, Brian was arrested. However, Drake's name was never released because he was a minor.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
why it was never released.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair to him. He's a kid, and
Mhm.
that's not cool. Yeah.
Dan Schneidel,
Schneidel.
Dan Schneider had called Drake to ask him if he was okay, because once Brian got arrested, Dan instantly knew that it had to have been Drake.
Because of the
how
close
close,
proximity. Yeah.
Drake called his dad and was telling him that Brian got arrested.
How sad for his dad, because he warned everyone. Well, at least the mom. Like, I'm sure he warned other people.
Drake
I'm
didn't
sure.
tell him.
No, but the dad did have a feeling, though.
and Dad's response was, "Thank God it didn't happen to you."
Oh.
He couldn't tell his dad the truth. His
My
dad was
heart.
like, "Thank God it didn't happen to you. I knew that this was going to happen to somebody. Thank God it wasn't you."
And he didn't know?
No.
Oh.
So, I mean, obviously it came out, but yeah, at that point,
Yeah.
he didn't know. He just was like, "Thank God. So glad it wasn't you. I knew this was going to happen. I'm glad you kept your distance like I told you to." But they weren't on speaking terms, so. Fall 2003, there was court and all that. That was also when Drake and Josh started their season 1. And
Way to kick off the fucking season. Yeah.
right, so he did that, and he had so much fun on set, and he was just finally like free. But
Well, yeah,
he didn't.
away from him, but
Yeah.
all the trauma. That's why I'm like, what a way to kick off the season. Like,
Yeah, he didn't really know how to process everything that was going down, and so he ended up turning to drugs and alcohol. And he said that Dan Schneider was the only person there for him.
well, that's good.
So in October 2004, so a year later, this was now his sentencing. He got 16 months of jail, and now he has to register as a sex offender.
That's what I'm talking about. Just like we talked about in part 1. Slap on the wrist. 16 months?
But listen to this. It is because, okay, so these letters were sealed, but they just recently became unsealed. That everyone was writing, you know, you can write letters on people's behalf to be like their character description or character personality.
Like they just, like Mila Kunis and
Ashton Kutcher did it for.
just did it for what's his name?
I don't remember.
The guy from that 70s show.
Yeah,
that they
Hyde
worked
from
with.
the 70s show, yeah.
Jeremy something. Or
No, I don't think that's what
with
it
a
is.
J or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways,
Anyway, the guy with the curly
Yeah.
hair from that
So,
70s show.
get this. 41 people wrote letters saying, "Oh, he should just have probation. He's a good guy." Da, 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 da. These people
I
were,
wonder how much he paid per letter. I'm curious.
No, listen to this. James Marsden, Alan Thicke, Thomas DeSanto,
Alan
Ron...
Thicke?
From Growing Pains.
Yeah.
Ryder Strong, Will Friedle,
Ryder Strong?
Boy Meets World, Will Friedle. They have recently, the Ryder Strong and Will Friedle did do an episode on the Pod Meets Show podcast for Boy Meets World. And,
Wow.
they had a whole episode being like, "We had no idea. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. We wish we had never written those letters."
So when they wrote the letters, they didn't know why they were writing them. They didn't know what the charges were?
I don't know. Or they maybe they were told, "Oh, some kid is claiming this, but write a character thing to say that this never happened to you." Because he worked with
that
them as
never
kids.
happened to them.
Maybe.
Okay,
I
I
don't
can
know.
see if you would say this never happened to me.
Yeah.
That would be truthful, and it would be
Do you know who didn't write a letter?
who?
Dan Schneider. He refused to write a letter on Brian's behalf because he already knew something was going on.
Because he had
Yeah.
weird vibes too. Even though he made inappropriate jokes and he was creepy in his own right, in his own way, he knew, like, either you're one of me, like we're one and the same, or I don't want any part in that because I make weird jokes and shit, but I don't cross the line further.
So everyone says Dan Schneider is so bad. But Drake said Dan is not to blame. Dan Schneider did everything good. Like, Dan Schneider is never bad to them. Yeah, he made the weird jokes. He did all this stuff.
He made inappropriate
It's
jokes.
inappropriate. But he never pushed anything.
Didn't
And
cross
he-
a physical line or
No, and
anything.
he did everything for these shows. He was the one for, like, Jamie Lynn, Ariana Grande, Drake Josh, iCarly, like...
Yeah, but there's rumors about Jamie Lynn. that her first baby that she got pregnant on Zoe 101 is Dan Schneider's. That's a huge rumor. Huge
I don't
conspiracy theorist rumor, whatever you want to call it, which there's no actual, it's all alleged. There's no proof. There's no valid, like, evidence or anything. It's just, they're just going by his reputation at the time.
But really, could it have been Brian or, well, I guess he's gay. But could it be somebody else on the show?
Just because he's gay doesn't mean he didn't rape a child. Like a
girl.
woman. A girl. Oh,
Yeah.
not a woman, but a girl.
Yeah.
Because rape is power. Rape isn't necessarily sexuality. He could have still raped a girl.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know. The whole Dan Schneider thing, it is up for debate because it is all speculation.
Everything is. And these other people, they actually, Jason Handy and Brian Peck, they have real legit.
Yeah. I can't, well, yeah, no, I know that's not allegation.
Yeah,
that's like it really
real.
happened to
So,
them. Yeah. That's different. That's different. And then the Jamie Lynn Spears thing is, and just Amanda Bynes. Like I said before in part 1, Amanda Bynes is speculation, allegations.
Nobody knows for sure.
We don't know.
And maybe she did have an abortion. Maybe she did have this. Maybe
She
did
did say that she had an abortion when she was 13.
Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe there's another predator that we don't know about that'll come out later, because this is only up to episode 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So there's still 4. I stopped at 4, like 10 minutes into 4. So, and 5 will be out next week. Like, who knows how long this is going to go on for.
And also, Amanda Bynes has never made a public statement about it, nor Jamie Lynn Spears that I know of.
They might be soon.
So,
yeah.
you know, I mean, we are just speculating and it's just allegations.
Crazy, huh?
It's not even our allegations, it's just what is like the buzz and the documentary.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Like, that all that went down while we're just like, while we're enjoying watching the show, while we're like, they're all happy-go-lucky, and in the background, all these horrible things are occurring. It's really not fair to these poor kids. So, okay, well, that was our show. So,
on that note, stay tuned for part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and
all the other
however
parts.
long
Yeah.
it continues.
So, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And please follow us on TikTok and on Instagram, YouTube, Conspiracies Unlocked.
And email us conspiraciesunlocked@gmail.com. Bye.